I was recently made aware of a company called Vantage Markets Global, previously known as Vantage FX. And thanks to the hard work of the YouTuber V. Latham Hall, or more commonly known as Mrs. Sponley or Victoria, I felt the need to chime in on this company as well. From where it stands right now, it appears as though Vantage Markets has hundreds, if not thousands, of victims. And all of these victims say that Vantage Market is a scam that has stolen thousands of dollars from them. And that just doesn't sit right with me. There is so much to unpack here. It's a wild ride, so we're gonna talk about it. But first, I want to take a moment to talk to you about today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. I don't think anyone really takes the time to think about how much we truly spend in our beds. For most of us, it's a third of our lives. For me, more. I practically live in my bed. So settling for the bare minimum should be out of the question. You deserve the best. We all do. And that's why today's sponsor, Helix, offers top-of-the-line comfort to upgrade your sleep to the best that it can be. And wow, guys, we decided to upgrade my daughter's mattress to one from Helix, and I cannot even explain to you how drastically superior this Helix mattress is to the one she had before. I've laid on it a few times, and at this point, I'm jealous of my daughter's bed. She's getting the best sleep possible, which is obviously essential for kids to perform their best in school, and that's super important to me as a parent. Helix doesn't just sell mattresses though. Check out Helix's new Comfort Adjust cooling pillow, a pillow that can be customized to support every and any sleeping position and preference. This pillow can adjust to your preferred firmness and height, which makes it great for guests and visitors who would be sleeping in your home too. The pillow supports you with shredded memory foam, so it'll keep its shape and feel over time. And hey, now is a fantastic time to reset and refresh your sleeping space with Helix, because they have a Memorial Day sale happening right now. Helix has recently been awarded by USA Today as their most trusted brand of 2026. In Helix's Wesper sleep study, 82% of participants saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle. So while that's great and everything, another thing that's fantastic is that they will ship your new mattress to your door for free. Visit helixsleep.com/Savannah Marie to take advantage of their Memorial Day sale exclusive partner offer and get 27% off site-wide. That's helix.com/Savannah Marie. 27% off with their Memorial Day sale. Get to it, because the sale doesn't last forever. You're gonna want to check it out. Thank you so much, Helix, for being the sponsor of this video today. Now, let's get into it. All right, so getting back into the mess that is Vantage Markets. What's going on here? Well, I'm sure you've heard of Forex trading. It's literally like foreign exchange, Forex, currency trading. And virtually every crypto bro and manosphere maniac shills for Forex trading platforms. You see it all over the internet. Now with Vantage Markets, it's got Forex, sure, but there's more to it than that. It's to the point where they can't even legally operate in the United States, which is saying a lot, because the United States as a country is like the most corrupt financial anything in the world. So if we're over here saying like, no, actually you can't use Vantage Markets here in the United States, then you know it must be bad. If the United States says it's too risky and too corrupt, then it must be really bad. Just so you know, I pretty much have zero experience in the stock market, Forex trading, all of those things, but I will do my best to describe here what's going on to the best of my ability and to the extent of my understanding as a layman, but here we go. At first glance, Vantage Markets seems legit. Trustpilot gives it excellent reviews, even though most of these reviews say that they were by someone who was invited to leave said review. And then when you hover the mouse over it, it says, this review was collected using an approved method outside of Trustpilot's automated email system. The company controls when reviews are requested, and customers may review any aspect of their experience within Trustpilot guidelines. So the company controls the reviews? That's interesting. Anyway, according to Google, it says that it is regulated by legit authorities in Australia, Asia, and the UK. So if it's regulated and it has literally thousands of 5-star reviews, why are we here bitching and moaning, you may be wondering? Well, it's because on the other side of those 5-star reviews, there's actually at least a few thousand 1-star reviews as well. And these 1-star reviews are alleging that Vantage Markets has stolen thousands of dollars from most of them. Some of the big allegations say that Vantage Markets doesn't have a problem with letting you deposit funds onto their platform, but withdrawing them is a whole different story. And suspiciously enough, usually this withdrawal issue happens when someone starts actually making money. And as we'll hear, we're going to come to find out that it's very hard to get to the point where you actually do make money in Vantage Markets. It's kind of an unusual thing, so it's pretty suspicious that things just so happen to get a little screwy once someone starts being successful. A lot of these one-star reviews also say that, go figure, it's 2026. Every time you call into a customer service line, we're met with AI bots today. And hey, companies, listen, I get it. I understand that it saves you money to have an AI bot, but they fucking suck. Every single one of them I've ever talked to sucks. We don't like them. Bring back the people, please. They can do whatever I can do myself on the website, And it's why would I call you if I could just do it myself? No, bring the people back. This is annoying. Anyway, so we're going to get to the victim stories a little bit later. But first, I should probably try to explain why Vantage Markets isn't allowed to operate in the United States. So people using Vantage Markets can still trade the US dollar, and they can trade in the stock markets. But citizens and taxpayers in the United States are not allowed to use the actual platform. And that's because our government is saying that Vantage Markets is too risky. Why? Well, from what I'm understanding, it's because one of the core parts of Vantage Markets' business model is something called contracts for difference, or CFDs. In the United States, it's not necessarily that CFDs are illegal, it's just they're restricted and retail traders can't use them legally. And when I say retail traders, I mean you and I, us normies. And this is because CFDs violate certain consumer protection laws in the United States. The SEC and the CFTC here in the US view CFDs as inherently predatory. So retail traders, normies like you and I, aren't allowed to interact with them in the United States. And the way I've seen it explained that makes the most sense to me is that it's kind of like gambling, where the broker, which in this case would be Vantage Markets, is kind of like the house at a casino, And in the casinos, we should all know at this point that the house always has the advantage. So it's really confusing to me, but the way I understand it is that CFDs is basically like betting on a certain stock. So you're watching the graph do whatever it does, and you're going, okay, based on what it was just doing, I just saw the price go down, so now I'm going to place a bet here that the price is going to go up. If you win, I don't know if you double your money or whatever it is, you make money if you win, but if you lose, the house wins. And so the house, again, is the broker, which is Vantage Markets. So they're literally profiting off of the losses of the people who are using their platform. Now, interestingly, I've also read that Forex trading here in the United States actually works very similar to this. Same thing, you're not actually trading actual money, you're betting with your own currency that a different currency is going to go up and down in value. And if you're right, you make money. If you're wrong, you lose money. But Forex is legal in the United States. And that's because, from what I understand, Forex is regulated here under pretty strict rules. There are limits to how much you can trade. I don't really know what any of that means, so I'm not going to get into it, but just know it's regulated and people watch it for fairness. I know it doesn't really sound like I know what I'm talking about, because in this case I don't, but stick with me here. So this also kind of creates a bit of a conflict of interest, from what I'm understanding, because Vantage Markets controls that platform. So what they're able to do is trigger a technological glitch or something. Or they can trigger these things called stop losses, which is a common stock trading term, I'm pretty sure. If you put in a stop loss, it means that if the cost of a stock goes past a certain low point, then it automatically will sell the stock so you don't lose more money or something like that. Vantage Markets is over here controlling when they can do those things, and a technical glitch, oh no! And they can absolutely do this during moments of high volatility in the market. So anytime that they're oh shit, we're gonna lose a bunch of money right now, stop losses, no one's allowed to trade, website's down, app's down, oh no! I'm not saying that they do this, other people are saying that they do this. But all you need to know is that it is 100% possible for them to do this at any given time. That should be enough of a red flag for you, but let's continue. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these victims that have left these one-star reviews are saying that once they started actually making money, that's that's when the issues started. Suddenly they weren't able to withdraw anything, or the platform is going to experience a technical issue, which would cause big losses for these retail traders. And another thing that Vantage Markets is in control of is the prices of these stocks. If you, like, I don't even know, I think they call them lots. It's all just like a lot of mumbo jumbo lingo I don't understand, so I'm just calling them stocks, but I'm sure there's better ways to refer to them as. But basically, there isn't an independent third party overseeing CFDs to ensure fair pricing across the board. So Vantage Markets actually gets to control that on their own platform, and no one is there to tell them they can't. No one is there to be like, hey, that seems a little unfair, you can't do that. Like, if they want to change some stuff up to benefit themselves, despite what it means for their user base, they can. There's no one to tell them that they can't. So we've heard one sketchy aspect of Vantage Markets, but wait, there's more. You may be wondering why I, someone who admittedly has no experience in trading, would be making a video about this. Well, that's because there is a freaking recruitment opportunity here, much like MLMs, and that is definitely in my wheelhouse. Vantage Markets calls it their CPA affiliate program. CPA stands for cost per acquisition. Like, that is literally just another way of saying how much we'll pay you for every person you get to agree to use our platform. I mean, they're just out here blatantly saying, yep, the more you recruit, the more money we'll give you. And you all know exactly what I think this is. It's like the textbook definition of the term I'm thinking of. For legal purposes, I'm not going to say it out loud here with my own mouth, but I think you all know what I mean. The CPA affiliate program says that they'll pay you up to $1,000 for every warm body you bring to them. And of course, that depends on what tier you land in. And if I'm understanding the tiers correctly, it's based on how much money you deposit into your own Vantage Market account and how much trading you actually do. It's pay to play in that way. If you want to make $1,000 per recruit, you have to deposit a minimum of $1,000 every month and trade a certain amount, and you'll only get that $1,000 per recruit if you recruit over 50 people in what appears to be per month. This is high risk, high reward. I like to look at it more as high risk, high losses. Now, I can't imagine that there are that many people who are recruiting that many people into Vantage Markets that they're making $1,000 for every person they bring in. But Vantage Markets has it at the pretty much the top of the webpage in big bold letters, like, yup, make up to $1,000 per recruit, basically. And it's like already sounding like dishonest advertising. And while it's not necessarily a lie, it's like the hoops you have to jump through in order to get that $1,000 per recruit seems close to impossible, and I can't imagine there's that many people doing it, despite how much they try. Like, I just don't think many people are able to do that. Definitely not month after month. It's only when you scroll down on the webpage where you actually see like the tiers. And according to this chart, most people are probably only making about $300 per recruit, if they even recruit anyone at all. Vantage Markets also offers something called revenue sharing, and the website describes it as earn potential passive income without trading yourself. So make money off of the investments of others without actually having to do any investing yourself. All you have to do is just recruit people and then just kind of sit back and make a buttload of money not doing anything. Here's an example from their website, and this is wild. I can't believe they put this on their website. It is mind-blowingly manipulative, but it says the first client, Client A, opens a perpetual trading account and trades Bitcoin or Ethereum via CFDs, making a profit of $1,000. As an affiliate, you earn 70% of Client A's profit. Your income will be 70% times 1,000, which is $700. The second client, Client B, also opens a perpetual trading account, but trades Forex pairs via CFDs, making a profit of $1,500. As an affiliate, you earn 40% of Client B's profit. In this case, your income will be 40% times $1,500, which is $600. In total, you will earn $700 plus $600 equaling $1,300. So you're telling me that if you recruit someone to just start using the platform, Vantage Markets, you'll make 70% of the profits they make on their own trades? 70%? So what I'm wondering is, if you're the person that got recruited and you make a profit of $1,000, unlikely, but this is a hypothetical, do you only get to keep 300 of that and then your upline gets the other 700? Because first of all, that would be extremely unethical, but secondly, it's reminding me of Good Burger, you know, when Dexter writes up that contract and gives it to Ed to sign because Ed made this special Ed sauce and everyone loves it. And Mr. Bailey's like, you can have 10 cents for every burger that orders the Ed sauce. And he's like, yippee! And then Dexter's like, nope, you're going to sign this contract and I'm going to make 80% of every sale you make and you get to keep 20%. Wow, it works out good for both of us.
I know some of these words.
That is what it's reminding me of. And just so you know, that little contract didn't work out very well for Dexter and Good Burger. No, it did not. So it's either that or the downline gets to keep the whole $1,000 profit, but then the upline would still get a commission of $700 on top of that. But if that's the case, that's kind of like double dipping from the company. And I don't see how they could be making a profit doing that. Maybe there's something I'm not understanding. And when I say maybe, I would say definitely there's a lot to this that I'm not totally sure of, but it has to be one or the other, right? And both of those options are sketchy in their own way. So like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's weird. I don't know what I'm missing, but that's bizarre. They also have something called their Introducing Broker IB program, where it seems like, again, they get commission off the trades of their recruits, which they call rebates, at up to $8 per trade. And the website specifically says IBs often provide valuable support and guidance to their clients by offering consultation, answering queries, and even providing educational resources to enhance traders' skills. This sounds to me like they're some kind of like glorified influencer mega boss babe upline where they recruit a team and, you know, throw them into a group chat like Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, and then they can encourage people to make certain trades or take certain actions. So basically it's like your everyday MLM upline. I'm getting paid to train people, regardless of how useful that training actually is. Some IBs will reportedly even just kind of copy and paste trades they're supposedly making and then encourage their recruits to essentially copy their trades. And that results in commission for the IB, whether the trader wins or loses that bet. So that definitely sounds like a conflict of interest for sure to me, in my opinion anyway, if the IBs are making a profit whether their recruits win or lose. However, Vantage Markets seems to think that, oh no, this isn't a conflict of interest, and they even say that on their website. They say that it incentivizes the IBs to provide training and guidance to keep people trading often and keep them in long term. The idea is that they basically just want an active base of clients using the platform to make trades. And do they care about the outcome of those trades? No, they just want people there using their services. But then, like, wouldn't you want to only pay the IBs if those trades were profitable? Because then they would be incentivized to provide actual good advice, you know? Because then they would only make their commissions if they're actually providing good guidance and advice. I don't see how this line of thinking makes it any less of a conflict of interest, but whatever they say. And obviously take this part here with a grain of salt because obviously AI can get things wrong. But when I was Googling around, Google's little AI overview popped up and it said that the IB program is more volume based. So like based on the number of trades made. So if you have a lot of recruits constantly making multiple trades, that's when you're gonna get a bunch of money because you're gonna get that rebate commission no matter the outcome of that trader's transactions. Now the revenue sharing thing seems to work kind of more like your standard MLM compensation plan. Because with that, you're specifically making a percentage of your downline's profits. But if no one is actually making profits on your team, then you're not making any commissions at all. I know it's super confusing, but oh my god, it all just feels so slimy. Now, I want to give the biggest shout out of all time to Victoria, Mrs. Sponley, for all of her hard work exposing this because she actually recorded a recruitment call that she set up with some guy from Vantage Markets. She pretended she wanted to become an IB, and this guy was surprisingly honest with her about how all of it works. So I would like to play some key moments here in this call because some of the stuff he says like blew my mind. If you want to hear the full call paired with commentary from Victoria and also one of my patrons, Sinead, I will have that video linked down below. Victoria also runs the Facebook group called Hey Hun #ban the scam, so I will have those links down below as well. Definitely go support her work. Now, Victoria opens the conversation by essentially dangling a social media following in front of this guy. She tells him that she has 10,000 followers on TikTok, which is close to true, and then he basically like drools over it multiple times throughout the whole call.
Well, I've got a following on TikTok. I found out obviously that there are people with followings. Essentially, if they invite a significant number of people to join and begin trading, that they can make a commission. I mean, that's cards on the table. I want to introduce people and obviously make a commission. And I've obviously got a following on TikTok, quite trusted. 10,000.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
But the reality is, I do think that I could get people to join.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, that's it, literally.
Good. I mean, we all work for money. Utilizing your TikTok and all the audience that you have to make it flow for yourself to build passive income is a very good idea.
He goes on to confirm to Victoria that, yeah, this is all basically gambling. All I'm hearing from this part of the conversation is that he's pretty much saying the best way to exploit people in this business is to prey on people who are vulnerable to gambling addictions. Oh, and also, hey, it's a really good idea to focus on people who have a lot of money to spend. Yeah, no shit.
What you need to understand is that when people trade, they keep trading.
Yeah.
Okay, if they deposit $1,000 and they lose it, they're going to deposit again.
They deposit
and even
again.
if they win, they're going to deposit again.
A bit like a gambler.
So, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's kind of gambling if you're asking me. My whole background is finance, right?
Yeah.
So finance and gambling are kind of similar in some ways. And if you have good audience, then in my opinion, you should also focus on the high net worth individuals, right?
Yeah.
So people who have more money. So in one deposit, they can come in with 50 grand, 20.
When you get the people in, do they generally stay, or sometimes they stay, sometimes they go?
They don't leave, right? The thing is that when they're in, right?
Yeah.
And then he basically tells her, like, yeah, all of my IBs that, you know, I know of, they all make $40,000 a month.
My IBs, my partners, on average are making 40 grand per month. There's a Romanian guy. He's not my client, but he's a company client. He is making $1 million per month.
Really?
From us.
And guess what? Those people are allegedly not doing any trading themselves at all. $40,000 for not making a single trade, allegedly. Listen to the way this guy says this, because he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, the way he's describing it sounds like a straight up schmonzy schmeem.
I just onboarded the guy is so fresh, right? It's his first time doing it. I onboarded him last month. And today he showed me that he made 3 grand.
Is that just from getting people in? Is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So he doesn't. Does he do any trading, or is that just literally getting people in?
He's not doing any trading, right? What I offer in these situations is that you can take a role as master IB. So it's not only you acting as introducing broker.
Yeah.
But you can have other introducing brokers under you.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to be the master IB. So whatever they're making, you can actually make something.
Yeah.
So their capital.
So I could be somebody, and then I can recruit people underneath me who will all be recruited. But none of us will be doing trading, but the people that eventually come in, they do the trading.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Can the introducing brokers underneath him then have more introducing brokers?
Yes.
So it can just...
As many as you want. You can have 10 levels, right?
10 levels of introducing brokers, and no one's ever doing any trading apart from the people at the bottom?
Yeah. Correct.
Wow.
In each level, you're actually making money, right?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's they're an introducing broker, but they're also so they're an introducing broker to another introducing broker, but they've also got bottom people that are just doing the direct trading. So the only people that are ever going to risk losing the money, I guess, are going to be just the straight up trading people.
Traders.
Just the traders, yeah.
Introducing brokers never lose money. They just make money.
Then he starts going off about this thing that Vantage Markets does where when you sign up, you can sign up for a bonus credit kind of thing. And this bonus credit isn't cash, it's not their money, it's just credit for them to trade with on the platform. However, from what I'm understanding, the website doesn't exactly like differentiate between what is your actual money, your own actual funds, and the bonus credit that you've been given. And you can't withdraw that bonus credit. So just listen to this part, because this guy doesn't really seem to care that what he's saying that they're doing, what their whole business model is tricking people into thinking they have more money than they actually do. And Victoria explains this really well in her video.
If someone is putting, let's say, for example, $1,000, right? First of all, they can get another $1,000 as bonus.
Yeah.
So now they're trading with $2,000.
Is that bonus their money, or is that just like?
No, it's bonus money, so it's credit.
Oh yeah,
right?
credit.
So
But do they think it's? But I guess they probably think it's their money. Like on the thing, it probably looks like it's their money.
At the end of the day, if you're putting 50 and you see 100 on screen, you're gonna be more.
Yeah.
And interested into trading more.
So the first deposit that you make, you're going to get 150%. That's on the first. Every deposit you make after that, you'll only get 25%. So the big one that you'll get your deposit bonus is going to be your first dropping. So you put £300 in, you're going to get £750. £450 of that is just credit money. It's not your money. The credit bonus is non-withdrawable. However, any profits generated from trading using the bonus are eligible for withdrawal in accordance with the standard withdrawal process. Please note that any losses incurred will be deducted from your account balance, not the bonus credit. So what that means is, right, on your screen, it's going to look like you've got $750. That's what it's going to look like. And in your brain, I've got $750. Every single time you make a loss, it's going to come out of your 300, because the 300 is the only money that was really ever yours. But it's still going to look like you've got more than that. So you're not going to necessarily notice how bad those losses are, and you're still going to think that you can keep going. All of your £300 has been wiped out. It's gone. It's not yours anymore. It belongs to Vantage Markets. You lost it. But I'm going to guess that account balance saying $450 is quite incentivizing to encourage you to then go back and put more of your own actual money in, which can, of course, then be lost. So that is the explanation of the 150% deposit bonus. It's not your money. It is designed to make you think you haven't made a greater loss as what you have made, and you're putting more in, and perhaps you're going to lose that again. And then I guess it may end up in a vicious kind of cycle.
And then just to make sure he's keeping his claws sunk into Victoria to really get her to join, he's like, yeah, I even convinced some of my own friends to do this. That's how legit I think it is. Like, I was giving this opportunity to my own friends. And he follows that up with, oh, well, I have a friend who just told me today that he made $3,000 last month, and he pretty much didn't spend any money on the platform to get that $3,000. Again, this is just like textbook schmonzy schmeem.
I mean, I even convinced some of my friends to do it. I cannot do it. I'm not allowed to inside the company, so I'm not allowed to do it. But I put some of my friends to do it, and sometimes they're making even better money than me.
How do they do that? Do they have to like learn about the trading?
Look, some of them are traders.
Yeah.
Honestly, some of them has experience, and some of them no. They just started. I just told you. I mean, I have a Russian friend. I just met the guy randomly somewhere outside. We were just chatting with a friend of mine, and he approached. We started chatting. Cool guy. He started doing it with us. Right. It took 3-4 months for him to decide, but eventually he made his decision.
Yeah.
And today, this morning, he showed me that he made $3,000, right, in less than a month.
Wow.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's good money, and you see the growth, right? Because when you
how
make
much did he invest to make that $3,000? How much did he?
Honestly, he didn't spend shit, and he has no ideas about marketing.
Yeah.
Like zero.
Now, admittedly, like I've said a million times already, I am not well versed in trading lingo. But when Victoria asks if she can just put all her recruits into a group chat and then just tell them what to trade, he goes, yeah, you can do that. And then he also adds that you can basically just steal other people's signals. I don't really know what that means. I know it has to do with the little pips and stuff based on whether you should buy or sell, but I don't really know exactly how they all work, but I'm sure some of you guys do. But he's like, yeah, you can just like steal other people's signals and claim them as your own and then just like copy and paste them into your group chat. And he's like, you can even use AI to do this. Like, yeah, that sounds really reliable and safe.
There's a couple that I know that are doing it. This is where I was going to say, they give out these signals. They tell the people in the Telegram chat what to go and trade on, and then that makes them start trading. So they essentially just start trading it that way. Where do they get the signals from? Just like other traders that are allowing.
Just go to other pages. Like, look, 90% of signals are free on Telegram, right? Or on Instagram. People have them, or on TikTok. Just take their signals, I don't know, brand it for yourself.
Yeah.
And just put it in your Telegram channel, right? Because
Yeah.
when they sell a signal, then afterwards they're going to show the profit too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
From all the content you can. Right now, using AI, you can even scrape these signals. I mean, you can crawl them from Telegram and everywhere and just put them there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your business, right?
Yeah.
I can only tell you how other people are doing it.
Okay, here's where it actually starts getting like really messed up, because at a certain point, Victoria is asking this dude, like, what happens if people start losing money? Like, she's expressing genuine concern over recruiting people just to have them lose a bunch of money. And he's like, don't worry, once they're in, they're in. He's like, even if they lose money, they're gonna just keep depositing more. I've never seen anyone not do that. And then he also just like blatantly admits that, according to this guy anyway, 90% of every transaction or bet or trade or whatever you want to call it, 90% of them will always result in a loss. Now, I believe their website has like a disclaimer at the bottom. I'll double check what it says. On Vantage Markets UK version of the website, which by the way, their websites are really difficult to get into from the United States. I have to use a VPN. Then it like has to redirect you a few times, and it's like verifying you're human, and then it has like all these pop-ups and stuff, and it's like disclaimers and shit. It's so weird. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the United States and you don't have a VPN, you can't even look at their website, which is sketchy. If you scroll to the very bottom of their website, and this is just on the UK version, but other countries have their own, this is vantagemarkets.co.uk. It says 72.9% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading CFDs and spread bets with this provider. So their website says almost 73%. This guy's telling Victoria it's 90%, so maybe let's just say somewhere in the middle. But regardless, that's a high amount of people who are using this platform and allegedly losing money. With that all being said, it's really starting to sound like the way this dude is describing the business model, it's like a gambling addiction cult. Like, you are profiting off of people's gambling addictions. Like, that is disgusting. Listen to this.
What about if people lose money though? Is that like they're just going to keep putting more in? Because that's my only thing. Like, I think, oh, what if they lose money?
Honestly, as for my experience, I have never seen anyone losing money and not putting in more.
So they lose and they just put more in. Like, I suppose it's the gambler thing, isn't it? Like
revenge trading. We call it revenge trading, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When you lose something, then you're just going to be like, okay, I need to now make double because
yeah.
I've lost my equity. So they're going to, not only they're going to put their equity, they're going to add it up and they're going to do other trades too. So this is how people are doing it.
Yeah.
We cannot change stats, and stats say almost 90% of positions are going to get closed and lost. Right?
So 90% will get closed on a loss, but they're just going to keep. They're going to keep trading anyway. That sounds a bit. I suppose though, when you think about people getting addicted to gambling, you can see why it does it. It's just that you kind of think to yourself, God, like, what if they're going through all their money? Would they just not run out?
Here's another wild thing he goes off about. You may be wondering, how do I even get my foot in the door of people thinking that I am successful with this? Because with business models like this, multi-level marketing, and now, Forex trading, CFD trading, these kind of things. When you're using social media to try to recruit people, you gotta utilize FOMO, the fear of missing out. So you're pretty much expected to get on TikTok or Instagram or whatever and post a bunch of pictures of you being rich. You want to look successful, like you're doing cool things with your life, all thanks to Vantage Markets. This dude literally says the words, fake it till you make it. You cannot make this shit up. Like, he's basically saying there's no authenticity in this business. You have to just be a faker. And then eventually you will make it. But you gotta fake it first. So he tells Victoria that, oh, well, for whatever reason, women influencers here in Dubai, because that's where this guy's from, he's like, yeah, women influencers basically just get to live here for free because, like, they're so beautiful and they get invited to all these events and parties and there's beaches and luxury cars everywhere and everything is just so big and extravagant, and so it's really easy for people in Dubai to make it in this business because they can just like post normal Dubai stuff and it makes them look successful. So what you want to do is just make a ton of that content and just keep posting it, and then when people start asking, how are you able to afford this incredible lifestyle? It's so luxurious. I want that for myself. How did you do it? Then you go, Vantage Markets. And then eventually you just fool enough people to join you in Vantage Markets where you eventually do actually make it. And he says all this directly after saying, yeah, like 90% of trades on this platform are gonna result in a loss. He is a slime ball, and so is anyone else doing this.
We have some other influencers who are doing lifestyle, for example. Luxury cars, especially in Dubai. You're basically, as a woman, as an influencer, you're living for free. So different places they get invited, different restaurants, different events, beautiful cars, and then they start selling it as a way that they made their money.
Oh, okay. So they go places that are like amazing, and people wonder how they're doing it, and they say, well, I'm doing this trading.
Correct. So it's just they fake it till they make it.
Yeah.
And they actually make it in Dubai for some reason. People are, I don't know. I cannot say people are stupid, but people are generally very superficial when it comes to social media bullshit. And then they just need to post a beautiful picture in a Lamborghini or Rolls Royce or which are pretty accessible here in Dubai. And then show themselves having a very good lifestyle, and then people trust them more and pay them more and more and more, and eventually they actually make it.
In the end, he's just like, trust me, bro.
Because I know that they get them to trade that whole 300. I know they get them.
But look, the moment they trade that 300, they're gonna bring more. Trust me.
Again, you can go watch this full call on Victoria's YouTube channel or in her Facebook group, on her Facebook page, Miss Spawnley. I just showed you what I deem to be the highlights and all the ridiculousness, but this dude is a scumbag through and through. The full call is worth listening to. You should see it for yourself. Anyway, let's get to the allegations being made against Vantage Markets. While all of this has been brought to my attention because of the recent work that Victoria has been doing in exposing all of this, this isn't the first time people have been speaking out about Vantage Markets. I found a forum called Forex Peace Army where this woman named Iva, I don't know, I'm gonna say Iva Kolbinger, alleges that Vantage Markets stole 275,000 euros from her in 2022. I'll have this thread linked in the description as well. You can go read all of her posts about the situation. She posts screenshots and evidence and stuff of all of this. It'll be linked down below. But the gist of the story is, in March 2022, she opened her account with Vantage Markets, and she says that she threw the last of her life savings into it. Now, first of all, that's never a good idea. Don't do that. But she did it, and she said that she had done some research online, and she decided to bet on Netflix because I guess she saw somewhere in the news that Netflix was about to do something, and so she placed a bet on it and won. And she ended up profiting 275,000 euros from doing this, which is a lot of fucking money. Then 2 days later, Vantage Markets actually terminated her account and then withdrew all of her profits because they said that she did something called gap trading. Now, this is not something that's illegal to do, but my understanding is that a lot of Forex sites say that you can't do this. They call it a manipulative practice, but to me, it just seems like a very basic strategy strategy. But as we know, the house doesn't like it when people pull one over on them. If you find a winning strategy against Vantage Markets, they're gonna just be like, uh-oh, that's suspicious. And so that's apparently what they did. Nonetheless, Iva says that what she was doing is not even the definition of what gap trading is, but even if it was, Vantage Markets had articles on their website explaining what gap trading is and encouraging people to do it. And this is verified by the screenshot I'm showing you right now that Iva provided, where Vantage Markets very clearly calls gap trading an opportunity. And of course, as soon as Iva made Vantage Markets aware that this was something in their training materials in an article on their own website, guess what they did? Guess what they did? Yeah, they took it down. Sure did. They're like, no, we don't. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be there. You put it in your training materials, someone kinda sorta skirts around the idea of doing that, and you're like, uh-oh, never mind. We don't approve of that. And so she was in emails with Vantage Markets for, I think she said 6 months. 6 freaking months trying to get them to give her her money back. And you can see in the screenshots that she is like repeatedly asking them, hey, what rule did I break, basically? Point me in the direction of what thing I apparently did that's prohibited. Why did you terminate my account and steal my money? Like, what did I do to deserve this? And did she ever get an answer for it? No. As a matter of fact, multiple times they were like, hey, by the way, just so you know, we're not even obligated to be responding to you right now. Like, what? We should be ignoring you, but we're just being nice. Like, shut the fuck up. Shove this email directly up your butt. There is one email where they tell Iva, like, hey, look at the contract that you signed, and there's a clause in it that says if the company thinks your account is showing suspicious activity, then we have the right to close that account and recover any losses. So here's exactly what it says. I'll read it to you. Please kindly refer to the client agreement and policies on the website of the company should you require any additional information. Subject to clause 1.4 BV of the client agreement, it is clearly stated that in case of a suspicious activity, the company is entitled to recover the losses it has occurred, whereas clause 3.6G refers to the rights of the company to reverse any order if it suspects that a client has engaged in suspicious trading activity, and clause 3.7D, which mentions that the company can close any hedged position if it constitutes as a suspicious trading activity. Considering that your account has been found to be affiliated with a person in breach of the policies of the company has no other alternative than to take the necessary actions so as to eliminate such practices. Now, I don't know if these kind of clauses are normal amongst trading platforms, but this is sketchy. Because again, there's no third party overseeing any of this. They are doing all of this internally. Like, they're the ones who can make this decision, meaning they can just pull any reason out of their butt and be like, no, that's pretty suspicious. They don't want her profiting 275,000 euros and they're like, whoa, that's suspicious there. And they don't even have to tell her why. There's no one above them making sure things are fair. There is no oversight on this outside of Vantage Markets' own internal team. And throughout the emails, basically the only thing they keep saying is like, well, we think you're suspicious, so we're allowed to do this. That's it. That's like the only explanation they ever give her. It's like, we just think you're suspicious. Okay, why is she suspicious? And then they just won't say, hey, look at the thing you signed. Okay, can you give me like any light glimpse of transparency here? No, never once did they give her an actual explanation. Except for the gap trading thing, which again, isn't against the rules, and they had it in their training materials. Like, they were encouraging it. And then the moment it worked in someone's favor against their own, they're like, uh-oh, we can't do this. We can't let people do this. Which is probably why most Forex platforms prohibit it. Because, yeah, I guess these people just don't want their clients actually making good profit. Basically, it just seems like they're making their own rules to this stuff. In my opinion, it appears as though if you are too successful, they don't like that. They'll just terminate you without any actual evidence of any wrongdoing at all, because the house can't lose. They don't want to lose. Now, the outcome of this is that Vantage tried to offer Iva 60,000 euros as like an amicable split term. And she said, absolutely not. And then they were like, all right then, offers off the table. You get nothing. Bye-bye. To which Iva then went and reported them to cybercrime units and stuff local to her. I think she lives in Austria. She like reported them to the police, reported them anywhere she possibly could. Started talking about them on the internet and posting to this forum, what have you. To which Vantage Markets basically told her to shut up or else. But then she did end up coming back to the forum a few weeks later saying that they had reached an acceptable mutual solution. And she didn't give any more details about that. So while I'm very happy to hear that she did reach some sort of agreement with them, this should serve as a cautionary tale to anyone who is considering signing up with the company. But this Forex Peace Army forum is wild because when you scroll through it, there are so many people complaining about Vantage Markets. Several of these complaints are alleging that Vantage Markets has stolen money from them. Some are very recent. Like here's one I found from March 2026 where a man claims that they have stolen nearly $20,000 from him. So he says that he actually recruited 32 people and all of those people deposited a good chunk of money into the Vantage Markets platform, only for the company to basically do the same thing to him and all of his recruits. They basically told him like, hey, there's suspicious activity going on. It says that you recruited a bunch of people and we don't think those people are real, so you must be lying and trying to scam us, so we're just gonna shut you all down. And not only, of course, did they shut them down, but they reclaimed all their losses, you know, closed their accounts and kept it all for themselves, from what I understand. And then they refused to pay the guy the commissions that they promised him for recruiting all 32 of those people in the first place. And you know what that says to me? Like, if that's really what happened, because obviously we only know this guy's side of the story, but even if we had Vantage Markets' side of the story, I wouldn't trust it anyway, because these people are obviously unethical as hell. But what this is telling me is that, like, people are not successful at actually recruiting a good amount of people into Vantage Markets. So when someone actually does, they're like, whoa, this is unusual. This can't be real. Someone actually recruited multiple people? What? We never hear of that. They're kind of just like telling on themselves with this one. Also, IBs, I believe, are given an account manager. I don't know what the account manager does or how any of that works, but this guy says that this account manager tried to bribe him out of $600. He's like, you pay me $600, I'll get this fixed for you, which to me sounds pretty illegal. Like, I'm pretty sure bribery and extortion is illegal. I don't know how the laws work wherever he lives, but I don't think you can do that here. And I can't imagine you can do that where he lives either, but I digress. Anyway, this whole case is still ongoing, so I just hope that this works out for this guy and that he can get his money back. And all the people he recruited too. Because like I said, this was posted in March 2026, and with Iva, it took her like a year to get everything resolved with these people. Like, that's how hard it is to communicate with them and get anything done. But yeah, scrolling through this forum is eye-opening. It's just case after case after case of people saying the same thing. Terminated accounts with no evidence of wrongdoing, terrible customer service, which resulted in Vantage Markets basically saying, too bad, so sad. In other news, there have been some victims who have spoken out over video, and I would like to go over them with you. First of all, we have this guy. He claims that Vantage Markets deposited his withdrawal into the wrong bank account, and this was based on human error, and then they hardly provided him any help when he tried to rectify the situation with them.
About 3-4 weeks ago now, a lady called Dee at Vantage Markets gave me the belief she was actually going to help me. After speaking with Lloyds about my missing withdrawal from Vantage Markets, it's a standard problem that can happen with internet banking, that payments can go to the wrong accounts. Mistakes happen, they're originally set by humans make errors. These things happen. So Dee at Vantage Markets promised she would get in touch with Lloyds Bank for me. She told me in writing through the online support that they were waiting for a call from Lloyds Bank and it could take up to 50 days. I spoke to Lloyds Bank about this and they said, look, we never give a time frame to call someone because we don't call them. Vantage won't be able to contact us directly, it'll be done through their bank. So they're basically lying to me. She promised me, however, this phone call was going to happen and that she was going to request the funds back. So I remained a bit hopeful. I got an email from Dee basically denying everything, even though it's all in writing in an email, saying, look, the money's gone through, here's your ARN number, you need to go to the bank, etc, etc. It turns out that the bank account that they sent it to don't have access to. But they've told me that the only way to resolve this is to get a letter from the bank. The banks don't do letters. I've spoke to them straight away yesterday when I received this email. Lloyd's Banking Group will not give you a letter. So you're not going to receive an email from Lloyd's saying, "Hi, Mr. Gallagher, this is your bank account details, blah, blah, blah." It won't happen now. I even went into branch to see if I could speak to a bank manager. It doesn't happen. So yesterday I sent a load more information to Vantage, explaining to them their terms and conditions with withdrawals that are listed online, and still to this point, no response from them. I've asked so many questions now. Vantage support will not answer questions. They will dictate to you. They won't give you a process to complain. They won't help you. The only way that I've had a response by getting in touch with Vantage Markets is leaving a review on Trustpilot. It's a scam, it's a lie. There's a reason that they've moved their business from Australia and London to the Cayman Islands. I still haven't gave up hope, but unfortunately they've frozen my assets now, so I can't withdraw any of my money. I can't get my withdrawal back. They have royally shafted me. And so my intention with these videos now is to make the world know, do not put your money and your faith in with Vantage Markets, because it will ruin your life. The stress I've had, the time I missed out with the kiddies in the evening after school because I'm on the phone to the bank, I'm bombarding Vantage Markets. It's mind-boggling. I would be better off writing that money off now, but that's principle for me.
But also, let's get back to Victoria here and her fantastic work. She interviewed somebody named Lauren, who's also a victim of Vantage Markets. The video is an hour and a half long, so I'll have the full thing linked down below, but let's go through some highlights. Lauren claims that she bought into Vantage Markets because one of her favorite influencers at the time, someone called Kate Ring, who's at Your Mate Ginger Kate on Instagram and probably TikTok and stuff. Well, this girl was apparently promoting it to her over 450,000 Instagram followers. Just one look at this lady's Instagram and I want to gag. She's basically one of those crunchy network marketer types, and while I don't see anything about trading on any of her recent stuff, she's still actively shilling things for a parasite cleanse, if that tells you anything about this woman. Anyway, Lauren fell for all the classic recruitment tactics, like it's easy side income, you can do it while drinking coffee, no experience needed. And she even told Lauren, my 5-year-old can do this.
So essentially it was painted to you by Your Mate Ginger Kate that this was anyone could do it. You don't need to know about trading. She actually said, my 5-year-old can do this.
In reality, Lauren says that Vantage Markets really ended up being a predatory and manipulative scam where, in her experience, she and many others were encouraged to place a ton of bets, or as she calls them, micro trades, based on signals that someone else was providing for her. And she describes some of these times where she would just sit there and watch her money disappear in like 30 seconds. And while she says she only lost, I think ultimately she said like 710 pounds, she says there are a lot of other people who lost thousands doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think I've said to you just before is they mix the signal, because they say that's what you do, is follow exactly what we say on the copper signal and you won't go wrong. And then when you go into them, we say, well, I did that and I lost a load of money. The support person, and they say, you didn't have to play them trade. Lauren would see the chart and be like, oh, that looks like it's going up. And then I guess you'd get a random signal that would be like, sell. And that means that they think the chart's going to go down. And I guess you'd be like, well, what? Like one day he did it and I'd been out all day, so I'd missed all the trade. And when I eventually got in about 5 p.m, he said, buy now. So I was pressing buy. This chart went down. The walls fell. It just flew. And I just watched all the money go in. And it was like a few seconds and it was on like two trades. It was on like minus 240. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then he touched it, buy now. So he think catch it at the bottom and go back up. I didn't buy again because I didn't have the money to, but I thought I was going to go back up. So, okay, I might be able to come out at a better point. Didn't go back up. It shot down again. My whole account just wiped out. Like I would say I walked in my front door within 30 seconds. Everything was got from it. How much was £130? £430 within a matter of like how many seconds? about 30 seconds before we crash out, they expect us to then reinvest. So these signals that are supposed to be coming from these expert traders who just know exactly what they're doing, they don't. The trading was on and had a lot to doing, and I thought, oh, sod it, I'm going to post and trades. I can't even remember doing it at the time. I went to sleep and I kind of woke up about 3 a.m. and I thought, oh crap, I have traded last night. So I look on like the MetaTrader 5 and I'd earned like 150 pounds. Lauren's literally got half a face, can't even remember, just like kind of remembers that she did a few trades. She's gone on her phone like when she's sobered up, and she's made better choices in her drunk state on trading than the so-called trading experts that are giving out the signals. It was really shady about the traders. They wouldn't tell us who would send it. We used to ask who's sending the signals in this group, and they wouldn't tell her. It was them just making it up. I went on Instagram and TikTok and saw some other trading pages. We found some other trading groups, and their results of the day were exact copies of what ours were. I don't even know if they've got a trader. I don't even know if they're just picking signals up off of like the internet.
Now, don't forget, IBs get paid on the volume of trades you do. So the more you trade, the more money your IB is going to make, whether you win or lose. So their best bet is to give you advice that's going to keep you in the system as long as possible. And I mean, if I go to a casino, which I do, I do like to play some slots. But first of all, I go into it knowing like this is my limit and this is as much as I'm going to let myself gamble away. And if I win, it's like a quit while you're ahead kind of thing. Like if I make a good chunk of money, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I did that last time I went to a casino. I sat down for like 10 minutes and got a really good hit and I was like, I'm out. Now, IBs don't want you to do that. And as that recruiter guy told Victoria on the phone call with her, gambling addictions work in the way where if you lose, you're gonna keep adding more money to your account to try to win back your losses. He called them revenge trades. Because now, if you're someone with a gambling addiction, you are now desperate to make your money back. Of course, it rarely works out that way. Not in a casino, and definitely not in the world of CFD and Forex trading. And then Lauren says that these IBs will use manipulative tactics to get them to stay. So for example, she said there was one group chat she knew of where if your account balance fell under $300 or 300 of whatever the currency was, they would kick you out of the chats and you wouldn't be allowed to get back in there and see all the signals and get all the great advice. So in order to be able to stay in those chats, people would just keep topping off their accounts, probably smaller amounts at a time, so that those amounts add up and you don't really notice how much you're actually losing.
There's different groups. You kind of have to get permission to join each group. But what happens is every day everybody mostly losing money. But as soon as you dip below the £300, they say you can't go in the group to trade.
And of course, just like every successful scam, in my opinion, if you lose money, they're like, it's your fault. Even if you followed every single direction your IB gave you, you will end up being the one that's to blame for your own losses. I mean, let's be honest, that is how personal responsibility works. But in this case, it's so manipulative, and you're trusting these people too. You are trusting your IB because they're out here being like, I'm supposed to be the one giving you guidance. It is sold to people as like, yeah, you have someone who knows what they're doing and you just like copy their trades and everyone wins. Like that's how it's sold to you. My 5-year-old can do this. It's just being a copycat, basically. It is very manipulative and it's just based on a lie, honestly. Because I'm sure there's a lot of these IBs that don't know what they're doing. And like I mentioned before, sometimes they'll go find someone else sending signals and then they'll just copy and paste it and tell their people to do it when they're not even doing it themselves. It's just like such a nasty, predatory, manipulative scam, and they'll just blame you for it. Now, also, according to Lauren, she says if you make any negative comments, or if you really even mention anything that is even slightly negative, even using a negative emoji, you'll be silenced, you could possibly be harassed or kicked out of the chats entirely. So while you've got something that's like, my 5-year-old can do it, suddenly it turns into like, yeah, you're trusting someone who says they're a professional, you're doing everything they say, you're following every direction they tell you to do, but you're still failing and that's your fault. It's just so gross. It's sold to people people like, yeah, there's no way to lose here. And then you get in and it's like that guy was saying to Victoria, 90% of trades are going to result in a loss. It is unbelievably gaslighty. The system is so toxic and it's just being used to manipulate people, period.
What it was he was just manipulating us, and unless it was all our faults, he would turn all the talks off of the screen if anybody commented. He just switch it off or shut off people out of the group. So no one's allowed to say anything negative. It's got nothing to do with intelligence level, naivety, anything else, and it's got everything to do with who you are. And if you're a trusting person and a kind person, you're very likely not going to see it until it's too late. And that's just the reality. And just sectioned off because they didn't let us talk to each other. Oh, isolation has to. And what they used to do was, at the end of the trading day, they'd swipe all of the signals off of the screen. So you could never go, oh, I won't allow to take a screenshot. We hit these amount of winning trades. And you'd be like, no, I hit a stop loss 3 times. But then like, no, you didn't. No, you weren't actually. Where's all my money you got? You weren't. Gaslighting is pure manipulation and gaslighting. And it's another one to keep you isolated, to make you feel like you're the actually only one. If you're losing money, then it's something wrong with you because everyone else in here is making money. It's working for everyone else, Lauren. Why isn't it working for you? Or did you ever think you were the problem? Did you ever think it might just be you doing something wrong? And then that's how they need to keep you. They can't have you communicating with absolutely anybody else because you might say to somebody like, oh my God, I've been losing all my money. And they might say back to you like, oh my God, I've been losing all my money too. Couldn't you put some more realistic screenshot on where you show that some of us have lost because we sent them to you, but you only post the winning ones? She said, I can't read all of my Instagram misty. I only get what I get. But then she did this whole thing where she said, I need a social media detox. I'm going to Dubai for a month. I'm not answering anybody. And I thought, she'll cause the chaos. She'll take the money. And then she hike. And she won't talk to anybody. Once when I first was on there, he says, if every day you went on there and every time signal come through, you put a trade on and you just set it for TP1 and stop loss. And you did that for every trade then for a whole month. There's no way that you couldn't earn $2,000 a month. It's foolproof. That's the system. Well, I tried that then. That didn't work. Then when I said, well, that doesn't work because of blah, blah, blah. And then he'd say, you need to manage your trade. And I said, you literally called it something and forget. I can't think of what the word was. This is beautifully labelled as place to trade and forget you placed it, walk away. Because I said, I feel like I'm spending all day looking at this. I was going to bed, my shoulders are up here. I was so stressed. I was not paying attention. And everybody in our group said this, you're not paying attention to your real life. So stressed out. If you get stuck in a bad trade and it's flying down and you've got all reds on that screen, because he's sitting there for 3 hours trying to wait for it to go back up. And it's just dominating your every waking minute. One night he did a live call and he said, we're going to make some big money, Chev, tonight. I'm going to do a live trade and we're all going to walk away with a big dollar. And I was like, I'm taking to this trade with the trader. You're going to show me what to do. And then he's like, right, go in now. So I was like, he's with it. So which should be good. So say he said a buy at this coin. Yeah. It just went down. It never went above the buy point. There never was it in a positive that I could get out of the trade. And then at the end of the 15 minutes, you went, okay, guys, have a good night. So I went to bed, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I woke up in the middle of the night and I'd lost £300.
Then Lauren goes off about a time where she actually found someone else who was also a follower of Kate Ring, that your mate Ginger Kate lady. Lauren says she saw her page and she was just kind of like, oh yeah, this seems like more like what I'm actually experiencing right now. And so somehow they got a little group chat together of their own, separate from Kate's. They all liked it because it felt more realistic. And I guess in Kate's Telegram chat, no one could actually chat. You could only respond in emojis, like reaction emojis or whatever. So here they could actually chat, and they could also speak their minds and say whatever, and maybe even make better decisions for themselves without, Kate telling them what to do. But then Kate found out about the chat and she made them shut the whole thing down because communicating with each other in a high control group like this is prohibited.
So when I signed up with Ginger K, she had a group chat on, I think it was on Patreon. So when I first signed up, I was like, oh, this is good, because I could talk to other people that are doing it and like understand what to do more. I reckon I was in that group for 2 days and then she closed it down. She made up some excuse and said, I'm closing it down. But she had like a hitty fit on there before she closed it down and said someone had written a message saying, you should be like careful of how you promote this to people. And then she just closed it all. So nobody had anyone to talk to. So you imagine, I spent 2 months trading, losing a lot of money, being told a mindset called devil times a week. My fault. I had made the mistakes. I hadn't listened for a few. I hadn't done what they'd told me. I needed to wait until I learned. They lost hundreds of thousands before they were profitable and just had to wait. So what happened was there was this girl that followed Kate and she was posting realistic shots and what she was actually losing, like winning sometimes. So I started following her and I was like, this is a bit more like me. I felt normal because I was honestly talking to my friends going, am I crazy? Like, is this me? I thought I was intelligent. How am I not getting it? Because I've never been in a scam. So I didn't understand all this stuff. So then this girl said, I had a lot of you messaging me privately and saying like that this is a breath of fresh air. I'm able to talk to people, like see somebody that understands. She said like, and a lot of us had asked her like, is there any way you can just set up a group? Set this group up. We're able to all go in there. There's like over 100 of us, and we'd be able to talk things that we'd all had in our head for months, and it was lovely. It was so nice, and then they got wind of it. They put a mole in the group. Kate and Rianne were posting videos on Instagram that the mole had sent them, scrolling around messages, all that personal chat. They started attacking like badly, like Rianne was threatening to take everyone's businesses down. I'm going to come for you personally.
Guys, I think this story goes significantly deeper than what we got into here today. I think I'm only scratching the surface, and I think there's probably a lot more victims who are going to want to come out and tell their story about this. But here's where I will leave this video for now. Indeed, this particular scam does not affect me. It doesn't affect anyone in my country. But despite that, this is a very good lesson in not only don't believe everything you see on the internet, especially because everything is fucking AI these days and you can't trust anything anyway, but regardless, don't believe everything you see on the internet, but also if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. And these lessons are ones that you can apply all over the place. CFD trading may be illegal here in the United States, but Forex trading isn't. MLMs aren't. MRR isn't illegal. But meanwhile, they are using the exact same tactics to recruit and manipulate you. If you think that anything in this video was helpful, please do me a favor and share it. This is something that Victoria actually told me because I was talking to her while I was kind of scripting all this, and she was saying, you know, these scams for the most part have really only been affecting the manosphere. Forex bros were almost always men. Of course, I'm not saying no women were doing Forex and cryptocurrency and stuff. Like, they definitely were, but it was more few and far between. This has been something that has mainly been affecting men. And only recently, people are starting to speak out, and most of them are women. There's a possibility here that, you know, maybe the men were just too egotistical to admit that they had failed, too embarrassed even to tell anyone that, oh, this trading thing that I was trying to get into didn't work out. So it's possible that there are just so many people out there, mostly men, who have struggled. You know, maybe they shot up a bunch of debt and stuff, and like their significant others don't even know that they're in debt now. Or, you know, this is the kind of stuff that people like unalive themselves for. Like, this kind of debt can be detrimental. But now I think that there's a ton of women speaking up about them being sucked into this and their experiences. I hope that's just opening the door for more people to come out and share their stories here too. This company has been around since, I want to say 2009. I don't remember for sure, this just off the top of my head, but it's been around for years. So the amount of victims they probably have it's probably a lot more than we know. So yeah, I hope more people come out and share their stories here. But with that, I do need to end it here. Let's say some thank yous, guys. First of all, obviously, thank you, Victoria, Mrs. Sponley. All of her links are going to be in the description. Go support her work, and follow her. Like, she's really dedicated to this cause right now. So I think the best way to keep up on what's going on is probably going to be to follow her. So all of that's going to be in the description. Thank you, Victoria, for all your hard work. Couldn't have made this video without you. And thank you to my patron, Sinead. She's the one who sent all this over to me. Couldn't have done this without her. I wouldn't have even known this was going on. Also, thank you to Helix Sleep for sponsoring today's video. Go to helixsleep.com/Savannah Marie. Get 27% off site-wide during their ongoing Memorial Day sale. Oh my God, that was such a tongue twister. It's going on right now. You don't want to miss it. helixsleep.com/Savannah Marie. Click the links and stuff below. Finally, I want to say thank you to my patrons and my members, guys. The names that I'm about to read off are my financial supporters. They get access to things like our private Discord server. We have a postcard club, early access to new videos whenever I'm able to give that to you guys, and sometimes even more than that. So if any of that sounds good to you, you can go to patreon.com/Savannah Marie, or you can click the join button beneath this video to join my YouTube memberships. Just whatever works for you works for me. So with that, the biggest thank you in the whole wide world goes to Love to Be Evil, Nicole Hensley, Wendy Irons, Luciana Valiente, Emily from Kansas, Hannah Moe, Alex Offbeat, Liz Sahu, Aaron Adler, LaSalle Story, Fluffy Duck Butt 24 Elaine, Ferd Turgeson Esquire, Just Mark, Alice Wagner, Fallon Harris, Zoe Slater, Hula Chowdown, Katrina Rosemarek, Jacqueline Nutton, Kessie Drew, Marie Silver, Maddie Darley, Ray, Caroline Reed, and Sinead Maria Venus. And to the rest of my financial supporters, thank you so much for being here and being you. Even if you're not a financial supporter, thanks for making it to the end of this video. YouTube loves watch time, so just means a lot that you're here. Hype points, if you think about it. Hype points would be good on this video. Yeah, let's get the word out. Just in general, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.